So it's the beer video. And we are back for another week of beers and complaining and cats. And to our left, hi Helen and
Eh,
Sarah. We have the wonderful Sarah and the cat being a gentleman. Um, the polar opposite of Andy the cat, who I had to brawl. Okay, I don't want to say that. I didn't have to brawl my dog into her crate, but the dog was not all that excited about going to sleep for the night. So I had to carry her down by the crate. We sit in front of the crate door and I talk to her and I'm like, it's time to go to sleep, blah, 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 just to calm her down. And so I finally got her to go to sleep. And Andy the cat is downstairs at the bottom of the steps, feet away from her crate, just wailing at the top of his lungs. I'm gonna fucking kill him.
Oh, wailing at the top of your lungs sounds familiar, right, Sauron?
He said he doesn't know what you're talking about. He's like, I'm very calm and never done anything wrong.
Yes, well. Oh, buddy,
He's really leaning into that pet. Look at that.
look at that.
Championship
He's,
pet.
he's being a good boy.
I'm yawning a lot. This would be the the beer video where I yawn the whole time. I'm physically and mentally exhausted. But we're here for beer. It's the whole reason that we congregate and why you watch it, some of you. Um,
Sauron, are you bored? Do you want to leave?
yeah, I can't tell if he's leaning into the pet or if he was like trying to get away. Yeah. There you go. There you go. All right. We'll meet up with him later. That's fine. I'm gonna yawn again, Helen. Sorry. I also just got done watching. I know this is hyperbolic, but I mean it. Maybe the most insane wrestling match I've ever seen, at least when it comes to mainstream wrestling companies. I watched a man drink another man's blood. It was gruesome.
Oh, God. Oh, okay, that was wrestling. So wasn't that UFC clip I've seen shared around a bunch?
No.
Like, I think all my kinky friends are into UFC now because like there was like some clip where like one fighter got his head busted open, and head wounds just bleed a lot. Like even if it's just like a little nick, it's just a very blood producing part of your body.
Yes.
Uh, but yeah, this guy's face was bleeding rather profusely, and there's like some clip that was going around, I think, on like dying Twitter and Blue Sky of him like kind of erotically rubbing his like bleeding face on the other guy, and everyone's like, "Wow, that's like making me a bit horny." I'm like,
That's pro
UFC is
wrestling.
kind of a horny sport,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah. I look, I don't really watch UFC ever since Dana White has. I mean, he's always been an asshole, but he's really upped his game recently, and I just can't watch it anymore because of him. But I mean, that's pro wrestling par for the course there, like the wiping your own blood on somebody else. It happens. But like these two guys in this match were bleeding out of control. Yeah, it was wild. But the main event's about to come on. It's on pause. So if anybody that I'm friends with spoils that for me, they're gonna be killed too, along with Andy the cat.
No longer be your friend, apparently.
Yeah. Man, here comes the yawning. I don't know. Maybe I'm not breathing enough. Who went first last week? I already forgot.
Jesus, well, I was about to ask you, so I guess we're both fucked, eh?
Uh,
Um, why don't you go first this week?
yeah, because mine is well, I don't want to say it's boring, but this is probably the most boring can art of all time that I've ever seen. Um, it's called Coconut Pie Face. It's by Revision Brewing Company. It's an imperial stout with coconut, cacao nibs, and vanilla by Revision Brewing Company. So they describe the beer as mountains of freshly toasted coconut, mountains, Helen, of freshly toasted coconut, mountains of them. Loads of cacao nibs and thousands of Madagascar vanilla beans on top of a rich imperial stout. Base round out this confectionery treat in a glass. Actually, it's in a can, but okay. 11.7% alcohol. IBU is 50. It's a pint. That's the can. Not much more to it than that. It's just looks like a cover sheet for a term paper. So not much more on the back, but we're drinking out of a Bowser glass from the Super Mario Brothers collection of characters. So let's crack this open. Wow, there we go. And see what we get here. Oh, it's a nice pour. Um, I was hoping it was gonna pour a little thicker, but that might just be I don't know. Anyway, that's what it looks like. Um, not probably the way I poured it, but the head's kind of minimal. Nice dark body. Oh, here we go. Not much of a scent to it. Anyway. So I believe they said no, they didn't say dessert. I always thought they said dessert beer. It said confectionery treat in a glass. So that immediately made me think that it was going to be over the top sweet, kind of like a southern tier sweet beer, dessert beer, but it's not. The IBUs, it's not terribly bitter. You get some of the bitterness from the chocolate for sure, but it's not over the top bitter. It's very nice and drinkable. I mean, there's for there being mountains of coconut. I'm not getting a lot of the coconut, which is a
Not
little
quite like more hillocks of coconut.
yeah, like a maybe a plateau of like a plateau of coconut, not so much a mountain, like a little bit of a plateau of coconut or a molehill of coconut. Um, so I get more of the chocolate and the vanilla for sure. It is sweet, not too much. Again, the bitterness is there, but it's not overwhelming. I was worried, like I said, when I poured it, I expected a little bit of a thicker pour, so I was kind of worried about the mouth feel. I haven't used that in a while, but that as soon as I sipped it, that went away. It's nice and rich. It's got a good body. Um, it's just really pleasant. Again, I was expecting this to be a little over the top or a little like I expected to be one of those things that after I sipped it, I'd be like, I'm not going to drink this whole can. Like I can't handle a whole can. I can drink a little bit of it, but that didn't happen. So that's good. Happy to report that. I'm going to do one more. Yeah, everything in here is really nicely balanced. There's not really a prevailing taste because like I said, I'm tasting the chocolate and the vanilla the most, but they're pretty equal. They're pretty equal footing as far as the taste profile goes. So that's really nice. I would like to get a little bit more of the coconut. I wish there was a little bit more of that up front. But what I think I might do is after you do yours, I'm going to let this sit a little bit and see if maybe once it warms up a bit, if I get a little bit more of the coconut. It could just be because it's cold. Maybe it's freezing out my tongue a little bit, but nice beer. I would like a better can, guys. Maybe a fucking coconut on it or something, or or if it's a coconut pie face, maybe is it a pie face a little too obvious? I don't design can art, but I don't know. This is pretty good. I like it. It's my first revision. I've never had anything from revision brewing, so this is the first one, and I'm a fan. So that's my beer. Do we want to do shirts?
Sure, why not?
All right.
I think you picked this one basically. So I have a Blind Guardian shirt on. It's for A Twist in the Myth, which actually is an album I'm not super crazy about, but I think Lionheart's a really great song. And also the shirt's got like a cool dragon on it. So, you know, it's fine.
It's it's hard to go wrong with a I mean, look, when you're going into you're putting on a Blind Guardian shirt, you're kind of going in a little deeper into the metal dorkdom. And I'm going to say this because today I also wore a Blind Guardian shirt, which is why I picked that one. But mine was from oh fuck, what album? Oh, Nightfall in Middle Earth is that's the album that my shirt was from.
Yeah, I have a Nightfall in Middle Earth shirt too. So, but I figured go with a deep cut for now.
Yeah, yeah. I would like to get another Blind Guardian shirt because usually what I do is like with bands, like I like to have some shirts where I keep the sleeves on and then some that I cut off. And so I would like to get another Blind Guardian shirt so I can cut the sleeves off of one of them. That's just how I operate. And speaking of which, well, not really, sort of. I'm wearing a Ken Mode shirt, which is designed by the great Caroline Harrison. She's a killer artist. She's done a lot of artwork for if anybody out there's not familiar with her. She's done a lot of great album art. She did the Pyrite album cover, friends of mine. She did their album. She's done tons of other stuff, but she did a really killer Sun shirt for their one tour that came through Pittsburgh. So I was really excited to get one of those because I like her work. But I have another Ken Mode shirt that I cut the sleeves off of. And you know what's funny? This shirt actually shipped from Canada. The shirts I have bought from Canada have been the best fitting shirts of all of my metal shirts. So like I have this one and I have two Mares of Thrace shirts. They fit so perfectly. So I don't know what they're doing in Canada, but they're doing a nice job with the shirts because this Ken Mode shirt fits perfectly. So thanks to Canada.
Oh, yes. Thank you to our neighbors to the north.
Sorry that Vivek wants to build a fucking wall up there. He's not going to win, so don't worry about it.
Sicko vibes.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
guys off.
Yeah. It's just
Hey,
Mr. Brick.
well, when
I
I
about this because you've kind of you didn't tell me about this beer, but I had to choose. You
yeah,
didn't tell me what the beers were.
I had a cool name earlier this evening when I was doing dishes, and it was very good. So we'll see if weird flavor also lives up to this. So this is from Modist. It's called Mallow Noir. It is a double marshmallow and vanilla dark lager.
Oh,
So I like dark lagers. When I want something that's like a bit toasty and intense without feeling like I'm chewing my beer, I will usually go for that over a stout.
I was
Uh,
expecting you to say stout. Whatever you were.
yeah, it's kind of weird to me how many people like kind of hammer the same flavor notes for like typical dessert stouts. Like I was looking at some Prairie ones, and Prairie usually makes pretty good beer, but yeah, like their new stout this season is just like, oh, maple and vanilla. Like, man, I've seen that a million times before. Prairie, get it together.
I would drink any beer that has maple involved. So I'm gonna go find that one. I love Prairie.
Yeah,
It's so
there's
good.
a brewer, Castle Danger, I think. I don't know if it's available where you are, but my point is, I guess they had the maple Marzen, which was amazing.
Yeah.
People just do like maple stouts, which I guess is kind of the easiest way to do it. But Marzen, like that heavy malt, like really works pretty well with it.
You know
But
who first told me about Prairie Brewing before they were available in Pittsburgh? My therapist.
wow.
Yeah, yeah. We were just
Wow.
talking about beer. It was a whole thing that we went through where my previous, not my therapist, but like the doctor that prescribes my medicine wasn't crazy about me drinking beer. And then I was telling my therapist about it, and he was like, "You can't just give up everything you like, you know." So we sometimes talk about beer at the end of sessions. Look at that. Nice pour.
Thank you. I've done some bad pours on beer videos, but I'm glad I nailed this one. Minimal head, as you can see. The color of a stout.
Yeah, it looks a little more caramely, like a little lighter than a stout. But that's on just what I'm seeing.
Boy, I gotta tell you, like, I was kind of not looking forward to this one in a way because, like, Modest did a salted caramel lager, which was one of the worst beers I've ever had in my life. Um, and I usually like their stuff. Like, that was like the one exception, but like I have it in the back of my mind whenever I try something new from them, especially something kind of desserty like this. But this is a pleasant surprise. Sorry to bury the lead there.
Oh,
I was worried it was going to be like very cloyingly sweet, but the main note from the marshmallows is kind of this toasty one, like a s'moresy one. And like there's a bit of sweetness, but like it's kind of backgrounded, I would say.
Hmm.
Uh, can taste the vanilla, but it's very subtle.
See, when you told me what that beer was, I was excited for you. I was like, that sounds like a really
Yeah.
nice flavor combination.
I actually like this quite a bit to the point I'm like kind of regretting not getting the 4 pack, which is a bit unusual
Yeah.
because with like this with so much going on, like usually I'm like, okay, well, one and done is kind of how I wanted to go with this. But this like all the flavors are there, but they're subtle and they're pleasant. So sorry, I'm just burping.
No,
Um,
I'm young, so, you know.
this is reminding me I should go get donuts for Matt tomorrow. I think he's got his headphones on, so maybe I
I
can
bought
still.
some donuts today.
Um, hmm,
So, oh, what's the ABV on that? Or did you say and I just didn't hear
sorry, I may have just given myself hiccups by
it? Okay.
swallowing fast. It's 5.2.
Okay. Oh, it's funny
Yeah,
because I just pulled up their website because I wanted to see what
yeah,
they make some pretty cool cans. Yeah, that's what I wanted to look
yeah.
at. I just wanted to see what they because it sounded familiar. So I was like, do we have that in Pittsburgh? Yeah, you showed it already. I'm a fucking moron. Yeah, it's been a long week. It's been a
Yeah.
long week.
Mm. Oh, I just noticed this description says it contains midnight wheat. I don't know what kind of special dark wheat this is.
That's
Like,
just wheat that they plant at midnight.
I feel like one of my brewer friends knows this, but I kind of don't want to know because like whatever I'm imagining, it's probably going to be cooler than the inevitable like kind of boring explanation. Soren, what do you? Meow.
He's yelling. Right?
Not right now. He's just kind of jogging around.
Jogging.
Uh, you adopt an 11-year-old cat. You assume he's going to be pretty chill, right? But not the case all the time, as we've discovered.
Well, it's funny when we adopted Brody the dog, we didn't know what she was. Like they didn't know what her breed was. We don't know either. I mean, we have a DNA test that we can't really do yet because she's still too we can't pin her down for 30 seconds to do this test. So we have to wait a little bit, but we're pretty sure it's border collie and shit, I can't think of the other one. I can't remember the other breed.
Wait, like Mad Max's dog, what's that one called? Um, Blue Healer.
Yeah, it's not that. Yeah. I mean, I was worried about that as well. But shit, I can't think of the other one. But it's basically like had we seen her because we saw Brody on an ad, or not an ad, but a Facebook post for this rescue group that's in our area. And had that post said border collie slash whatever, we never would have adopted this dog ever. Because it would have been like, we cannot handle this dog. There's no way. So we didn't know. But it's okay. Here's the thing. She's a pup. And she's gotten to the point now where I get mobbed when I come home. Like she's very attached. And it's just a matter of we're gonna have to calm her down, figure out ways to calm her down. And she did a pretty good job tonight. Like I'm trying to watch this AEW pay-per-view and I sat Brody down at the beginning and I was like, listen, I really want to watch this show. We need to kind of keep it to a dull roar. If we can just dial down the dickishness just a little. And she did. She dialed it down. I mean, she had her moments. We just got a brand new couch and love seat, and she did start biting the love seat, and not thrilled about that. But she's a puppy. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Well,
Yeah. She also got off her leash yesterday.
Brody.
Yeah, and she started running, and like the thing is, there's a highway that runs along. We were half a block up from the highway, but it's there. And it's like, I don't know what she's gonna do. She gets off the leash. So luckily she made a turn toward the house. So I was like, all right, maybe she's just gonna run home. But still, there's streets and she has to cross a street. So she starts running up the sidewalk and then she runs into the street. And there were no cars coming, luckily. So, and then she runs around the car. So I come back to the sidewalk and she's just sitting there real tall waiting for me, like looking at me, wagging her tail, and I'm like, please don't move. So I'm trying to like sweet talk her, like, oh, what a good girl, good brood. And I just released her and it was fine. And, you know, gave her a pet on the head. Like I didn't, it wasn't her fault. So
That's that's reminding me of one time when I was marathon training years ago. Um,
you got off your leash.
yeah, well, obviously, I'm constantly off my leash. No, I was I was kind of mashing through this like sweaty, slow, disappointing run, and I'm like angry with myself for like not keeping my pace, and it's just unpleasant all around. And then I see this dog just bolting down the trail, and like they're obviously like pretty upset owner, like sprinting after them. So I do the universal come come play with me puppy sign. I like drop to my knees and do this.
Yeah.
And I just bear hugged the dog until like the owner could get it back and releash it. And I was like, well, this was kind of a shitty training day, but at least I accomplished something worthwhile.
You hug the dog. That's always worth it.
Yeah, yeah. Like uh, pretty big dog too. Some kind of poodle mix. Like it was about like I think if it had stood on its hind legs, it would have been about my height. So
Yeah.
I like took a massive risk or whatever, but like yeah, like so like our old cat Bart got out and like he got bored within half an hour and like hid under the porch while we like cried and freaked out. But like yeah, like I know what it's like when pets slip control, and it's very stressful.
Incredible. It was just 30 lives passed before my eyes when that was happening. And but it was the leash was the problem because it had like a little locking mechanism and that failed. And so I came home and we threw that in the trash because we have multiple leashes because whatever. So just we're not going to use that one anymore. We're going to use a more reliable one, and that'll be that. I have another story for you that you'll laugh at some of this because of where this story is based. I was at Hot Topic today. Look, I was getting my
No, I'm sorry, my mind's blown. That still exists.
oh yeah, it still exists. So I go to like, whenever getting my nails done before my appointment, there's a little mall that's by where I get my nails done. So I, walk through the mall to kill time. So I went in there and I bought a Dio shirt. They had a Dio Master of the Moon shirt. So I was like, oh fuck, I'll buy this. So I'm checking out, and the girl who's scanning my I shouldn't say that. I don't know how she identified the person who was scanning my shirt got all excited about Dio. And this person was, if I had to guess, 20 years old, maybe, and was all excited about this Dio shirt and was like, oh shit, this one, the logo's purple. And the one we used to have was the logo was red. And, they're all excited about Dio. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, how the fuck does this person know who Dio is? I would think that this would be way, out of there. I mean, and here I am. I have no idea. I don't know what her life is, what she listens to, but I'm like kind of surprised that there's a recognition and a knowledge of Dio. So I'm excited. I'm like, yeah, yeah, a lot of times the logo they used was red. That's true, but they used a lot of purples on this album, and I saw them on this tour. It was the only time I saw Dio, and blah blah blah. And then they dropped the knowledge to me of how they knew who Dio was, and I didn't even realize this, remember this, but apparently there was a Dio reference in Stranger Things, And I was like, oh, it all makes sense now. And it made me a little happy because, I know a lot of people were hand wringing because Metallica had such like a big role in that season and like the song Master of Puppets and all that. But to me, it's like,
Really?
sure,
Like, I mean, I mostly just saw people arguing about Kate Bush.
Kate Bush too. And so to me, the thing that I take away from this is like, if we're teaching these kids who Metallica is, who Kate Bush is, who Dio is, I think we're serving a pretty good purpose here.
I mean, it's fine. I don't think Stranger Things is a very good show anymore, but um yeah, if it continues to have a banger soundtrack and that's how people are introduced to that, yeah, that's great. That's fine.
Yeah, yeah. Sounds pretty exciting. I'm like, this is great. I'm having a conversation with somebody who's young enough to be my daughter and you know, talking about Dio at the mall.
Yeah, and when Running Up That Hill became popular in that show, I noticed people were like kind of squawking about that and like I how are you so boring? Like look, I have owned Hounds of Love on vinyl since about
Hmm.
2005.
Yeah,
And that's my qualification badge, just like a Kate Bush fan.
yeah.
And I think it's good actually when people like um discover music.
Hmm. Yeah, it is. And so, for people that are complaining about Stranger Things, like, oh, whatever, look, I mean, if younger folks are learning good music and good bands, what's wrong with that? Like, you can still have it. It was never yours to begin with, you know, like you don't
And,
own it.
and
So
I feel like people that get really hung up on that are the saddest bitches on earth.
yeah,
Like
yeah, I don't know.
uh like back when music was mostly on physical media, like these kinds of people would like kind of get off maybe a little bit on the fact that like you'd have to order CDs to be familiar with all their taste. But now you can just like find a playlist online or whatever.
Yeah.
I think a move towards streaming has been like pretty detrimental in a lot of ways. And maybe overall a net bad, I would say, but I guess like one nugget of like okayness amongst all the garbage is the fact that it makes people not able to like shittily grandstand about what they listen to.
Yeah.
Because like, if you say to someone like, oh, I'm into such and such a band, and even if they're like wildly obscure, like looking that up on YouTube will probably get you like enough music to like at least give you a general idea. And like generally I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like,
I
yeah,
wish I wish I
I,
had these resources whenever ever I was this person's age.
right? Yeah, you're older than me. So like you remember like what a fucking hassle it was like to try to discover a new band. And like I remember like saving up like my meager wages from my shitty high school job and like occasionally I'd buy an album and it just wasn't very good. And like how disappointing was that, right? I'm sure you had that experience as well.
You had that basically there was a like a cassette store that was in one of the malls near my house. The mall still exists. Funny, it's the mall where they shot Dawn of the Dead. Um, but there was a dude working there, and I'm like some young fuck, right? I'm like 13 years old, and I was buying Testament's New Order because I saw it on Headbangers Ball. I heard Trial by Fire, and so I was like, oh, I'm gonna buy it. It was probably the heaviest thing I bought at that point. And the dude working the counter was like, oh, if you like this, here's some other stuff you should. And he's like, I remember that's when I first heard of Overkill. And then he was telling me about Voivod and like all these other bands. He's like, yeah, he's like, so if you like this, check this, and this out. And that was like a fountain of knowledge for me. Like this big dum dum running around the mall has no idea what he's talking about. And like this dude just takes me under his wing. It's like, here's what you need to listen to. And sure enough, I bought Overkill's Under the Influence next. and so yeah, you had to get lucky and find those people and just find resources, and wasn't easy. Let's talk about being old, Helen.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, I got into Iron Maiden primarily through like, I had a boyfriend when I was 19, and I'm still friends with this dude because he's like a fucking top-notch guy all around. Um, but yeah, he made me an Iron Maiden mixtape, and like that lived in my car for like 4 months, right? Like,
Mhm.
I mean, I think it's generally better that like music is more easily accessible now. Like, I think we just have to make sure the pay is equitable.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I'll be honest, I know you were way ahead of this before me, but like that's a main reason why I've listened to like no Spotify this year, just because it's gotten worse, like what they just
Yeah.
passed is so much worse for independent artists. So fuck that. I can't, I just can't support that. Like I don't not listen to that, but if I'm going to use Spotify, it's generally I'm like, okay, I've heard of this band, I just want to check out a couple songs before I commit and just see what it sounds like, and then I'll just buy the record.
Yeah, far be it for me to recommend any billionaire's company, but Tidal basically has like all the same
Um,
shit, and they pay artists like 10 times as much. So
yeah, I think I'm just start using that because
yeah.
it's still nice to have something to stream music on whenever I'm outside doing something. I don't know, or whatever.
Like, you just want to listen to something stupid. I mean, I guess maybe that's just me, but
Well,
oh,
look, this has been the beer video. We talked a lot about beer. We talked about metal. And I think we all learned something. We're all better for it. So drink beer. Make sure you have a good leash on your dog, and fuck gatekeepers.
yeah.
Fuck them. All right. Well, look, we'll see y'all next week. Bye.